Hi everyone, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. York is done and dusted, and we've got a modest enough ITV racing to get stuck into. We'll have this from elsewhere as well, with a team that is Charlie, Poste and Donn McClean. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying our content, because it does make it easier for you to take in everything we put out there. The Premier League's back, for example. Plenty of podcasts going out there, although there's only one more to come until the international break. But if you like and subscribe, it makes it far easier for you to digest everything we put out, and it helps us as well. Okay, I think we're going to get stuck straight in, to be perfectly honest. Donn is along. If you can hear some banging downstairs, that's a radiator being installed. Apologies. Donn, a fully British card for you to get stuck into. We're going to start with you and with the 150 at Sandown, if we can. And you and I agree with Tough Enough, who won at the track last time.
Yeah, and I just was impressed with him the last day, Tom. He was out the back early. He kind of missed the break a bit, but I thought that was deliberate by Russell Ryan. He just wanted to get him settled, get him in behind, because all his form before that had been over 6 furlongs. He was stepping up to 7 for the first time. And I thought he saw it out well. And look, it was kind of grand just on the easy side of good that day at Sandown over course and distance. So shouldn't be too dissimilar this time. I think that it's officially good to firm. But he has, even if it does come up firm, he's got form on faster ground as well. He won well at Windsor in early June on fast ground, and he got a £4 hike for that. But I thought that was fair enough. Plus the fact that he is now proven over the trip, like the way that Russell Ryan rode him the last day, which is kind of that's the way he likes to be ridden anyway. In behind, he is a bit of a keen going sort. I thought he was ridden quite conservatively, and he did well to win because he came from last, earning the home straight. And there were 9 runners. He came from last and travelled well and stayed on well. So there are no doubts about him staying the trip now. And yeah, back over the same course and distance, I think it's fair. I thought a hike of £4 was fair enough for him. And yeah, I just think he's a horse who can improve again. He's only had 6 runs. He's won 3 times, 3 of those 6 runs. And yeah, I think there's every chance he can go forward again now once he's learning to settle a wee bit better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I remember Rosser saying afterwards that he wants to be ridden like that, particularly up in trip. He said he felt that was the limit of his trip, and he's a speed horse, he said. But he put it to bed pretty impressively last time, and I think with a bit under his belt, because he got a bit unbalanced, with a slightly clearer passage, I think he'd have won a little bit further. But the good news is that he only went up £4. I don't have a huge amount to add, to be honest. I just think he's a 3-year-old with a fair upside, and at the prices he and Amber Island are both 5.0. I'd rather have him on side at that price. Charlie.
Yeah, I've gone for the other end of the spectrum with a 7-year-old that's pretty exposed. Lyndon B. He's Shrewd Connections. John Flint. He won off, I think, 82 over the track last year. He's a good Sandown record, 2 wins in a place from his 7 starts there. He was narrowly beaten at the end of last year at Newbury off of 87. He's down to 85 now, which is a couple of pounds higher than his most recent winning marks. But there've been glimmers that he's ran well on a couple of occasions on his last few starts, and he's just one of those horses that I always sort of have on the radar, and I just wondered back at this track whether they were sort of lining him up as Saturday for the time for him to drop in, and he's one of those horses that even if it isn't this Saturday, I'll still be watching him over his next couple of starts, because I don't think his turn is far away, Tom. And I see it. I think from even when I was going through this after Dex, I think his price has come in a few points already. So I don't know whether that's people guessing or whether these Shrewd Connections are already sort of having a tip away at him.
Yeah, he's down to 9.0, sorry, 10.0, which is probably a bit bigger than I thought he might be. A bit shorter than I thought he might be, having come in from a bigger price. But yeah, he for previous connections, he if you look at that form, he looks well treated now. Win and play shout, I would imagine, for you there, Charlie.
Yeah, definitely, please.
Okay, that's the 150 at Sandown done. A couple of shouts for Tough Enough, one for Lyndon B. We move to Beverley, where we're previewing 2 races for you. Got the Beverley Bullet, and the first race there is the 205, and it's the Silver Cup over 1.5 miles. 8 runners here. Dream Harder for Ian Williams, one of a couple in the race for him, is 5.5. Perfect Play is the same price, 6.0. Dancing in Paris, 7.0 for Imeric and for Field, and slightly bigger prices the rest. I mean, the outsider's 13.0. Charlie, I'll come back to you if I can.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sort of a bit of a random shout, but Dark Jedi I came down with. I mean, again, exposed horse, 7 years old, against plenty of younger ones that are maybe a bit more upwardly mobile. But this horse started off the year rated, I think, 99. He's down to 88 now. Just been getting behind in his races and hasn't been quite getting back to them. But ran okay at the Shergar Cup meeting, finished fourth. Granted, beaten well enough behind Scampi on his penultimate start. But again, it's £4 lower than even for that run. I mean, maybe this trip is a minimum for him, a mile and a half, but Beverley's a real stiff finishing track. And if you can just get out and keep tabs in this sort of race, again, he's one of those horses either completely gone at the job or he's becoming dangerously well handicapped. And again, he's one that I'm going to be with him for his next couple of starts and just see how it plays out, because like I said, this horse has been up way above 100 at times for his career, down off 88 now. And like I say, it's either that he's completely gone at the job or he's getting to a mark where he surely can't help but win before long.
That is Dark Jedi. I'm with Perfect Play, but I would be looking to, this would be a sort of in-running trade, to be honest. I think he will look like he's going to win on the front end, and I just worry about what he's going to find. But I do think he'll get to the front. I don't think Dream Harder will get there out of one. So I think Perfect Play will go forward, and I'd probably look to just lay off my stake anyway, just because I'd worry slightly about him getting home over the mile and a half. I'm now doubting that it is a mile and a half. It is. So yeah, I think he's probably at his very best at 10 furlongs, but I've backed him a few times this year, and I think he's still fairly handicapped. Just an in-running lay, personally, just to lay off the stake, so that if he folds, I don't lose anything. Dom.
Yeah, I like Dream Harder, Tom. Thought he was good on his penultimate run at Chester when he stayed on well over almost a mile and a half. That was his first win, and Turtley was good. I think he had 4 wins on the board and all weather before that. But he won well at Chester last time, and then he ran in one of those Racing League races at Windsor last time, when I thought he ran better than the bare form of the run. He was kind of towards the inside, and he was short of racing room about 2 furlongs out. He had to kind of maneuver his way out, and he ended up towards the far, like not out in the center of the track where he didn't want to be. Trigani came up the near rail and beat him for 3rd place. But that's a race we've been working at really well. Spirit Dancer won it, went and won the Stransel Stakes there at York last week. And Trigani herself, she came out and finished 3rd in the Galtra Stakes next time. So she was only beaten about a half a length in the end, even though she's only 3rd. So the form is working out well. I thought you could have marked him up a wee bit for it as well. He goes well on any ground. When he won at Chester, it was soft ground. It was good to firm the last day at Windsor, so he won't mind what the weather does. And yeah, I think he's probably while it was 10 furlongs the last day, he does stay a mile and a half. So I wouldn't worry about him stepping back up to a mile and a half. When he won at Chester, he got a £5 hike for that, up to a mark of 90, and he proved the last day at Windsor that he was well able for that type of mark. So yeah, I think, given that you can mark him up a wee bit on the bare form of that run the last day, I think he could be. He's in a rich vein of form now. I think he could improve again, and yeah, he's got a nice drawn stall one as well, over a mile and a half. So yeah, I think he's interesting. Like, I know that the other Ian Williams horse, Dancing in Paris, thought he was in front of him in the betting, but yeah, I fancy Dream Harder against him.
And he too is 5.5. We move on to the Atalanta Stakes. This is a decent renewal of this Group 3 on paper, because you've got Coppice in there, who contested the Falmouth last time but looked very progressive. Heredia was back on song at Haydock last time. Coppice is the top of the betting at 4.5. Heredia is in there at 6.0. Midnight Mile 7.0. Queen for You go. The cheap pieces go on first time. Potapova 9.0. Bigger price as the rest. I'll kick off just because I'm a big fan of Queen for You ability-wise. I have some concerns about the track. I mean, last time I worked there anyway, on the round course, it was quick ground and you had to be on the front end. And when the ground's quick, that can be the way there. They'll probably had a bit of rain today, but otherwise I think it's going to be dry. So I think she wants to be switched off. That tends to be how they ride her. That's a slight concern. Ultimately, I think she's got lots of talent. I thought she was good value for what should have been the win in the Michael Seeley Memorial at York. She was unlucky, and I thought she should really have scored that day. She then went up into Group 1 company. Last time was a bit disappointing. Maybe she just out and out didn't stay. That seems to be the way they're reading it, and she's back in distance. But I do think she's got loads of ability. So Queen for You is my selection at 7.0. It's just slightly tempered by the likelihood of them holding her up and there not being loads of pace on. But I've got to stick with who I think is the most capable, and that's her. Don.
Yeah, I think Heredia is similarly a filly with lots of talent. She wasn't seeing the best effect on either her penultimate race or the race before that. She was very slowly at chance for penultimate run, and the time before that, again, she actually reared in the sole Chelmsford, and then on her penultimate run at Musselburgh, I thought she did well to finish second at White Moonlight. She put it all together last time in the listed race at Haydock. Now, she did get the run of the race. Sean Levy gave her a lovely ride. She was drawn in stall 1. She got away on terms, or not too far behind them, and went good fast pace, which helped her. But she won with so much in hand. Like she won by 3 3/4 lengths in the end from Purple Pay, but she had loads in hand. She showed it, like when she's on her day and just things in her favor, she has a really classy performance in her. She's got a really good turn of foot, which she showed that day, and over a mile is her optimum trip. And again, similar to you, Tom, with Queen for You, she does need a fast pace, and she if she misses the break, she's going to be in trouble. But I'm hoping that the size of the field is a good field. There should be a good pace on, at least early, and that should help her. But I just think as well, more than that, coming from off the back of a win with confidence back up, like she only got a £3 hike for that, which I thought she'd get more. And even that £3 hike brings up to mark 105, which puts her right there in the mix in terms of official ratings here. So I think there could be more to come from her, and yeah, I think she's a big player here.
That's Heredia, back on form last time. Charlie, another win and play shout.
Yeah, Midnight Mile for me. I put her up at last time when she got beat by Alasi. I thought she ran really well on that occasion, just bumped into a real high quality performer. And I think if you watch the race back, it was 10 furlongs. And I just felt like, I mean, it wasn't really a Sheenor's fault, but she just ended up in front soon enough, hit the front, I think 2 furlongs down, and just got outpointed and ended up finishing and not beaten far third. Before that, she'd won at York. I mean, this is a filly that ran a Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies turf, finished 4th behind Meditate, and she's high quality. And I think the drop down to a mile is interesting. She's by no name never, granted, out of a Galileo mare, but I don't think she's short of speed. And I was looking through this race, and she's drawn 9, which is an ideal, but there's I couldn't see a heap of pace in it, and I just again wonder if a Sheenor will let her out the gate and let her slide on a bit and down in trip, and it could well be the answer to her, because like I say, she doesn't look to me, certainly the way she went round in Haydock, like she's a fully shorter toe, and a stiff mile which Sandown offers could be right up her street. So yeah, Midnight Mile, win and place for me.
Midnight Mile, win and place. We move on to the 240 at Beverley. This is the Beverley Bullet listed race. Silky Wilkie is top of the betting, who comes in at 4.33. 5.0 for Apollo 1. Kurdos is 5.0. Judicial is 6.5. Tis Marvellous next in 8.0. Bigger prices. Elegant Air is the outsider of the bunch. You and I are in an agreement here. I guess for me, I just feel that I know he's finished second on his last 3 starts. I think Apollo 1 is just got the best form coming into this, and he's a horse coming into it in rock solid form as well. So it's not just the best back form, but then he'd be my clear favourite for all that we've got track lovers in there.
Yeah, agree with all of that, Tom. Like Apollo 1, he's just been unlucky. I actually backed him in the win only, which was clever. And he just was unlucky to run into St. Lawrence that day. And then he ran a massive race last time in the Stewards Cup again, just running into one Aberama Gold. He's got a £3 hike for that. He's only £6 higher than he was for the Wokingham. And he's got a nice draw as well in stall 2, which, like Beverley, it's not as big a draw track as it used to be, like in the old days. But I think when the stalls were reversed, they used to go right to left, and that's going back. The high, you have to be drawn high, which is now drawn low. But even so, it's still an advantage to be drawn low. And I know this race is a race that does spawn repeat winners, and Tis Marvellous is in there again, going for a hat-trick. But I just don't think he goes into the race in the same form as the form he was in last year or even the year before. So, yeah, look, you can see him running well again. He obviously loves the place, but I just think he's going to have to step forward on his last couple of runs if he's going to get involved. And he was way behind Apollo 1 in the Wokingham. Yeah, I agree with what you said, Tom. He's just got the best form in the race, and I think he's the one they all have to beat.
And I was nearly with the winner of this a couple of years ago, I think it was, and an 11-year-old now, Charlie, Judicial.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you both. I'm surprised that Apollo 1 isn't the favourite in this. I think he definitely brings the best form or current form to the table. But yeah, I just couldn't get away from Judicial. I thought he ran much better at Ascot on his most recent start and showed a lot more. And he's just brilliant at Beverley. I think 6 starts, 4 wins, 2 places. As you say, Tom, a previous winner of this. He's drawn 3, but you know he comes from off the place anyway, and he loves a stiff finish round here. And yeah, I thought he showed enough at Ascot to interest me at the prices, taking on a couple of younger sprinters.
That is Judicial, who's pretty versatile as regards how he's ridden. 3 o'clock at Sandown is over 10 furlongs. It's a handicap Class 2 contest. Eagle's Way is atop the betting at 7.0. Lord Protector in there at exactly the same price. Gassi is half a point bigger. Educator, who ran just 8 days ago, 9.0. Then we're into double figures. Don, straight back at you. How confident are you with your shout?
Hopeful, Tom, about Lord Protector. Yeah, hopeful back at Sandown. You have to allow him to run the last day at Goodwood in the 10 furlong handicap there, but I think you can easily allow him that. And back at Sandown, he's won twice and finished second once in 3 runs at Sandown. And I thought he did well to win on his penultimate race, his last run at Sandown, when he beat Haunted Dream. And Haunted Dream has gone and enhanced that form since, ran really well next time in the John Smith's Cup, and then was only beaten by Ancient Rome at Goodwood in that race, in which Lord Protector was down the field. And then at the weekend there, he finished 3rd behind Astro King in I think it was the last race at the York Ebro meeting. So that form has worked out well. And Lord Protector, he's a horse who does like to be ridden kind of prominently, and that's a style of racing that obviously suits Sandown well, and he goes well there. He only just gave best to Paradi on his run before that 3 runs ago. But he reversed that form with him at Sandown next time. And look, I just think it's a course form thing mainly for me. He's off a mark of 98 now, which is his Goodwood mark, but it's £4 higher than the mark of which he won over this course and distance back in July at the Eclipse meeting. And yeah, I don't think I think there's still more to come from him at Sandown. I think the handicapper maybe hasn't quite got to grips with the Sandown form. And allow him to run a Goodwood last time on easy ground, which you can back at Sandown. Yeah, I think he's a big player.
Charlie Post, who are you with?
Garci for me, for the William Haggis team. Again, they're flying along at the moment. It's a strange one, this horse, because he's plenty of form over a mile and a half, and including last year around Haydock, but he just hasn't really seemed to see it out this time round. Second in the Old Newton Cup behind Wootton Sun. Was almost a bit keen early, got into an ordinary track position and then stayed on. And then at Ascot on his latest start, he led them 2 out and sort of just wasn't very strong through the final furlong. He's dropped back to a mile and a quarter here. And again, maybe he's the sort of horse that this is the answer to. Like I say, he's handicapped to win. He's down below 100 off 99 now. He's been up again in the mid 103, 104, 105s. So I just like his profile. I think he's also more to offer still, and definitely maneuverability in this mark. And he's been showing enough on his most recent starts to suggest his turn is near. And the fact that he's in off 99 now makes him even more interesting over this trip.
And I'm with Certain Lad. It's a bit of a tentative shout because he's top weight and he's not the easiest horse. He takes a bit of knowing. He's been tricky in the past. He's just looking a well-treated horse, and I think the way he races will suit here. He tends to be pretty prominently ridden. Yeah, he's difficult, but he didn't run too badly last time. I think this is definitely his trip and a sound surface suit. So at 15.0, I was very happy to have him on side. Very much win and place. Just hope he gets out and gets towards the front end, because that tends to be how he was ridden. It wasn't how he was at Yarmouth last time. That tends to be when he's at his very best. Don't love the idea of him coming from behind. So Certain Lad for me at 15.0. Welcome along to the Sports Elephant, who agreed on Apollo 1. Yep, Apollo 1 taking off, says the Sports Elephant. Welcome along, a regular viewer, listener. 320 is the Chester Stakes. I haven't got prices up in front of me, but a listed staying contest. And it is Military Order who heads the betting. Don and Charlie agree. Charlie, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly boring selection, but I just went through these, and Lone Eagle's a good horse, but I mean he's pretty exposed. We kind of know where he's at, and just Military Order. I think going back to the Lingfield Derby trial, granted it was on the all weather, but in beating Waipiro, that's really solid form. Waipiro is a subsequent Royal Ascot winner, and yes, he bombed out at Epsom, but he went off 9-2 that day and came in with very, very positive vibes behind him. And he definitely isn't going to be the first horse that probably didn't act round the track, didn't come down the hill, and just, had no chance from there. Finished, didn't beat a rival home. He's been given plenty of time to get over that, which I see as a major positive. And the fact that Charlie Appleby has been patient with him, I'd hope shows the regard that he has for the horse. This mile and 6 trip looks ideal, and I take him to get back on track. Like I say, if you take the Derby run out, he looks a really upwardly mobile, high quality 3-year-old colt. And I see no reason that still shouldn't be the case, for all that he was well beaten at Epsom.
Yeah, he's 2.1. At a time, the Epsom run, in the paddock, he looked a stunning animal. But the yard were particularly quiet then, Don, with their older horses.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Tom. Like, Charlie Appleby's had 3 winners now from his last 9 runners, which is just shapes that they are coming back into form. Maybe he doesn't have the quality of horse that he had last year when he had a phenomenal season, but there are signs that they're running back into form now. And yeah, like Charlie said, like, it's process of elimination. I'm very interested to see Shanro going over there, Carl Thornton's horse, and I was actually fancying him for a Premier Handicap at Killarney there last week, and he didn't run. He was taken out of the race after being backed actually at morning prices. So he would be interesting, but you have to think, if Military Order is anything like the horse that he looked at Lingfield, like, he was not, as Charlie's 9 for the Derby, he was the same price as us rode on for the Derby. So that's the regard in which he was held. And look, he finished last, so it wasn't his running for whatever reason, whether he wasn't in form or the yard was out of form or he didn't handle the track for whatever reason. It wasn't his running. He's back now, and the step up and trip, he's a brother to Adayar, so a Derby winner. So the step up to a mile and 6 should be fine for him. Easy ground, that should be fine as well. He won on soft ground at Newbury in the early part of the year, so it's just, you could nearly, I mean, I won't be backing him, but you could nearly argue the 2.1 is value about it.
Yeah, on peak form, there's nothing wrong with a Waipiro form, is there? It's rock solid. He's probably the one to beat, but I'm a no bet, and sadly I'm a no bet in the next as well, which is the Solario Stakes. I couldn't work out Star Law and the stout horses. They've had a winner recently, but he hasn't had the season that he had last year, and I think I'm just stung by Nostrum, who I've kept the faith with one too many times. So I couldn't work out whether to be with or against, and I didn't have anything against him. So Star Law is 3.5 for the Solario. Mortlake is 4.0. Ablan 4.5. Devil's Point is 6.5. Bigger price is the rest. You chaps have Ablan and Star Law on side. Don, first of all.
Yeah, we're back to the Charlie Appleby factor. Horse is running back to form. 3 of the last 9, 3 winners from his last 9 runners. And I thought Ablan would be favoured, actually. I thought his run the last day at Newmarket was a good run. He made his ground on the far side. And he won a maiden that Charlie Appleby does like to win, and has won with good horses. He's won the last 4 renewals. He won it with Modern Games there or the year before last. And Ablan, I thought he did well. He quickened up well, and he showed a good attitude to get home by a half length from Whiskey Pete and Maxud, and the 3 of them were miles clear. And Maxud came out then and won next time at Beverley, so Roger Varian's horse. So that form has been upheld. And, we know that the Charlie Appleby, the Godolphin horses do well at Newmarket, but it's a good starting point for him, and you'd expect that he will improve from it. And look, there's an awful lot of unknown here. Obviously, we're depending on by how much these juveniles are going to progress from. Most of them have only had 1 run, but I thought he was more promising than most, and he showed a good attitude in the race. It's working out well in a race in which the trainer has previous. So yeah, I think if he comes forward a wee bit, he could be a big player.
You're with the favourite, Charlie.
Yeah, as in I nearly put Devil's Point up, David Minusier's horse that was very impressive at Foss last on his second start, but therefore I went back and watched the race at Sandown that Starlaw beat him in, and I just was taken with the way the horse moved through the race. Starlaw, I thought, he looked like a very, very talented colt. The stout horses definitely aren't ever tuned up to win first time out, and he, after getting there really comfortable, he just seemed to idle and ended up hanging on to win by a nose. But I think if you stop the race half a furlong down, when he's come in there cruising into contention, he looked like he was a lot better than the opposition. I think the form of the race has worked out okay, including Devil's Point. And I agree with you about Nostrum. I'm all aboard that club. That's been a disaster. But like I say, I was taken by the way this horse went through the race, and I thought 3.5 was a fair enough price given the fact that he, like I say, he had that victory over Devil's Point. He's backed that up, but I don't really see an obvious reason. Granted that Sir Michael Stout's horses normally come forward massively for their first run, why that horse should turn the form around the more and more that I went back over the race. So yet Starlaw for me, it wouldn't be a massively strong selection, but if I had to play in the race, I'd be with him.
All right, Starlaw at the top of the betting for Charlotte, just about, and Arblan for Don. Nothing for me. Any other Saturday bets? Well, I've thrown a curveball in with one tonight at Newcastle in the Racing League, which not anything to do with the Racing League. I just think this Mortlake, we'll get to that horse. I think this Moon Spirit is potentially interesting for Danny Sheehy and George Bowie. I like Danny anyway, claiming 3, but I thought this filly ran a really eye-catching race at Chelmsford last time when she was pretty well supported, having won at Bath prior to that. I know that I spoke to George about her in the build up to the race, and he was very positive. And for all she's inexperienced, I thought she was value for the win that day. So win and place prices with a field of 13, so nearly full field. 7.5 Moon Spirit was fair enough. Second go in a handicap. She's a 3-year-old filly against hardened individuals, but this might be the time to catch her. Moon Spirit. Charlie, you've got another, yes?
Yeah, 5:20 at Sandown on Saturday. Swift Asset. I put this horse up at Newbury the other week when we did the pod, and he was taken out. He won his penultimate start at Brighton. He ran well at Goodwood this year as well. And I just think the 5 furlongs on this track should be ideal. Ryan Moore's booked to ride him, and I think he's a sprinter. He had a very good 2-year-old season and paid for it. He's come down the weights a little bit, and I think there's still upside in his mark. So yeah, Swift Asset in the 5:20.
At Sandown, Matchbook Zero long shot. Remember Matchbook Zero, if you haven't checked it out yet, do. The market goes live at 10 a.m. every day. There's zero margin, there's zero commission, so you are most likely to be getting best odds, or you're enhancing the better odds you're getting on the exchange anyway. Well worth checking out. My Matchbook Zero long shot is Certain Lad at 15.0. Charlie, your long shot is?
Yeah, Lyndon B in the first at Sandown. I like the Certain Lad selection as well. I nearly put him up myself, so I'll be following him too.
And Don?
Yeah, I don't. It's one of those weekends, Tom. I think the biggest price of it, any horse I like, is 6-1. So that doesn't qualify as a long shot. So I think I'll skip this one for now.
Yeah, that's it. You know, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, it's just not a long shot, is it? And that's fine. You're not going to put that for the sake of it. So fair enough. Best lays, we haven't got one. I was tempted to put up the Stout Horse Star Law, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let that run. So no lays. So best bets. One per race, so you can have a Trixie, which you can place on the Matchbook Exchange. Mine is Tough Enough in 150 at Sandown. Don?
Yeah, Apollo 1 and the Beverley Bullet.
And Charlie?
Garci in the 3 o'clock at Sandown.
Garci in the 3 o'clock at Sandown. There we are. Done. We absolutely rattled through that. Irish Champions Weekend next weekend, which was also the Haydock Sprint Cup. So there's going to be a bumper podcast for you next week. We'll do it on Friday so we can take in Haydock on Saturday. And then, of course, Saturday at Leopardstown, Sunday at the Curragh for you, because it's just belting action all weekend next weekend. Don, you will be at one or the other, Leopardstown or the Curragh?
Yeah, Leopardstown anyway, Tom. Yeah, are you coming over, no?
No, sadly, it's not happening. No, not happening this year. I love it.
Weekend. We were down with Aidan O'Brien there on Monday going through some of his runners, and yeah, it's just some weekend ahead. Yeah.
He's got a few.
He has one. He definitely has one.
Ridiculous, isn't it? The strength in depth. So look out for that podcast. Friday, that will be. We'll try and get it in early-ish for you, but we want Sunday decks as well. So we will chat to you then. Keep an eye out on insights.matchbook.com, a recap of all of our best bets, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.